around the interwebs. Okay, so I saw this story on the Riverfront Times. So hold on, before you pull up the Riverfront Times, Will, you can go ahead and queue up that little package that we have there on the dock because there's a governor's race happening this year in Missouri. And I think the current governor could be described as a Klansman or at least a member of the White Citizens Council. Like he gives tremendous saltine vibes, right? As is the case in Missouri. And I've told y'all lots of times, I love black people in Missouri, even met some wonderful whites in Missouri. But I could never live again in the state of Missouri because it's deeply racist and you feel it in every corner I've been in. You feel that shit. So it didn't shock me to hear that there was a candidate, a man in Missouri, who was seeking the Republican nomination to become Missouri's next governor. It didn't also shock me to learn that this man was a quote honorary member of the Ku Klux Klan. What did surprise me is the fact that the Missouri Republican State Party wants to remove this man from the ballot. And I said, but when he represents so many of your ideals, like, what did he do? How could you remove this shining example of modern day conservatism off of the gubernatorial primary ballot? So I want us to pick it up with one of these TV stations in St. Louis, and this is very quick. And again, the information about all this was a bit scant, but I'm gonna do my best. But let's try to, let me try to explain. Actually, you know what? Too much. Let me sum up. Let my man on the TV sum us up. Will, let's go to the package.
In campaign 2024 news tonight, the Missouri primary is not until August, but tonight Republicans are booting a gubernatorial candidate from the ballot. The party tells First Alert 4 Darrell Leon McClanahan III filed for governor as a Republican, but evidence has surfaced that he is affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan. The party says this quote is fundamentally contradicts our party's values and platform. We condemn any association with hate groups and are taking immediate action to rectify this situation, end quote.
So the immediate action that the Missouri Republican Party for the state of Missouri, the immediate action that they have undertaken to rectify the situation is to file lawsuits. They have filed a suit against Darrell Leon McClanahan III, and they filed a lawsuit against the Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft because to have they want Jay Ashcroft, the Secretary of State, to permanently remove Darrell McClanahan from the ballot and try to make it so that he can't be certified as a candidate, right? Well, if you could pop up the article from the Riverfront Times for me, please. So, let's check out the photo because Darrell McClanahan is a self-described pro-white man who was a horseman, a politician, a political prisoner, and who has also sought office in the state of Missouri before. He ran, I believe, for Congress. He also, I believe, ran for Senate. He was trying to foster a write-in campaign. I can't recall, was it for his congressional run or for his Senate run? Regardless, this man is determined. He is determined to represent the people of Missouri in some capacity. And now he wants to be the state's next governor. But these allegations, and I don't even know if we can call them allegations, everybody, because it's been somewhat confirmed that Darrell McClanahan was made an honorary member of the Ku Klux Klan. He also admits to being in attendance at a cross burning ceremony. However, Darrell said, it was not a cross burning. It was a Christian identity cross lighting ceremony. Oh, Oh. Oh. I guess it just resembled a cross burning. It wasn't it was a Christian identity cross lighting. See, y'all got it fucked up. See, y'all thought it was racist. See, they was just lighting the tree with gasoline and, and flammables. What else has Darrell said? So Darrell has been in some shit. Now he got sued by the Anti Defamation League, right? Which is credited with unearthing these photos of Darrell in front of this, Klan Nazi regalia, looking happy and unseasoned. Kalechi goes in on the bad white. She always calls them unseasoned with the unwashed legs. Darrell hasn't washed his legs in years, y'all. I don't know if Darrell's ever washed his legs. Seasoning? Because anything beyond salt and pepper gives him indigestion. So I mean, Kalechi might be on to something. So anyway, so the Anti-Defamation League sued Darrell at some point, and like I said, in a response to this lawsuit, all this is stuff I got from the Riverfront Times article, by the way. That that's where he described himself as pro-white. But the suit filed by the Missouri State GOP party says that Darrell has routinely posted racial slurs, anti-Semitic remarks, racially incendiary imagery on his social media. And they said that this is not consistent with their values. And I said, are you sure? like, um, because you guys, like Missouri has been the site in recent history of some of the most, notorious police lynchings. You know what I'm saying? Like we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of Ferguson, of the murder of Mike Brown. I even think we're coming up on that pretty close here. The black folks in Ferguson and in St. Louis was ready to rock and roll behind all of this. And they were tamped down politically in many ways by the state Republicans, by the St. Louis county prosecutors, by the governors, whoever was governor at the time and who's the governor now. So I'm in confusion about the state GOP party saying that this man's racist. I can't speak to his anti-Semitism, but anti-black and anti-Semitic usually go hand in hand, right? Like usually if somebody is one, they are definitely the other, right? So if he's anti-black, he definitely is not a fan of the Jewish folks. I would imagine he's not a fan of any other folks besides the whites. So again, I am in confusion as to why they want to put him off the ballot. So here's the deal. So Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft for Missouri also is seeking to be governor. He is also on the Republican primary. From what I'm understanding, the Republican primary ballots, I don't know if they've already been printed up, but somehow Darrell McClanahan has landed himself atop of the Republican ballot. But the primary is not till August, so I'm not sure how those two things have gone together. So Jay Ashcroft says that he cannot unilaterally remove any candidate from the ballot. It would take a judge's order. It would take a court order in order to do that. So that's why the Missouri GOP has brought this lawsuit. They're hoping a judge will find in their favor. And they claim that them, or rather McClanahan being allowed on the ballot as a Republican, violates the state GOP's First Amendment rights and 14th Amendment rights. It'll be interesting to see how this gets played out in court, because if the man has reach the number of signatures or whatever the pre-qualifiers are for him to be on the ballot, and if he wants to run as a Republican, if he is a registered Republican, if he has voted as a Republican, don't walk away from your homie now. State GOP, you know what I'm saying? You was counting on Darrell's votes all these years. Darrell's probably been a very reliable Republican. Why don't you want him to run on the ticket? If he identifies as a Republican, if your party is the one that he, as a pro-white man, a self-described pro-white man, who, as the state GOP party has described as racist and anti-Semitic, but he identifies with y'all. He's been voting with y'all. Why y'all want to separate from Darrell now? I hope Darrell wins his lawsuit. I hope Darrell is allowed to be on the ballot. I don't know if there's been any polling as of yet amongst the would-be Republican gubernatorial candidates, but I'd be curious how Darrell's polling. I'd be curious if Darrell gets some money sent his way. I couldn't find a lot of Darrell online. There is a website, not a website, a YouTube channel called, I think it's called Missouri Battlefield or Missouri Battle Flag, that Darrell is sometimes known for recording his phone calls with members of the press. And there was a couple of those videos up there, but none of them were too recent. I am just impressed with the resilience of the very racist whites to make sure that they maintain a toe or some sort of foothold in political power, right? And it's not to say that the whites that we currently have in both parties are not deeply racist and yes maintain that stronghold of power, but that there are even those to the right of them, right? That want in, or rather I should say want back in. They want back in. They want to return like their grandfathers and their great grandfathers who were active members of the Klan and white supremacy groups and were freely elected senator, governor, mayor, town council, whatever you want to call it, like the virulent active whites that would, attack physically black people, not only physically but with their policies. I mean, that is who has run this country for overwhelming majority of the time. And I look at like Joe Biden's liberalism and his racism as not that far off than whatever the fuck Darrell McClanahan is talking about. Biden's just not showing up to the Christian identity cross-lighting, right? But he will sit across the aisle and backslap with those who do, right? So there's not that much daylight between Darrell McClanahans and the Joe Bidens of the world. That's it. I don't even think I have that. What is there to analyze? What is the analysis here? What is the analysis? It is. Are we at the lesser of two evils always? Is it the David Trone version of lightweight racism, or is it the heavy-handed racism of somebody like a Darrell McClanahan? And by the way, who has not ever held any political power, so he has not been able to enact harmful policies against whole communities. That has been the job of the likes of Joe Biden and his ilk, right? Vote locally, you guys. That's all I can say. Get out, get out and vote. But no, vote strategically, vote locally, vote for the races that will have the deepest and most consequential impact, not only on you and yours, but your community. And these state races are absolutely those. These governor races are that. These local races are that. How if, again, Maryland finds itself somehow for the first time fucking ever as a consequential Senate election, right? Which never happened. So anyway, I'm gonna have to wrestle with all this. I've got some wrestling to do internally. So anyway, I'm just sharing the info, gang. And with that, my negroids, my Mongolians.